Hi and welcome back. Today I will make some jelly prints for my Christmas projects, and I will use color schemes that I came up with in my last video when I made my color cards. I'm using for the first print a Phthalogreen, I believe it's turquoise green, kind of a Scarlet Red, and I am using a burnt sienna and a gold ochre. I will list all the names in the description as well, so you can have a look at the colors. I'm working with the jelly plate that is almost the A4 size. It's a little bit bigger, and I love this size because I can make a full A4 print. And with all my jelly printing sessions, I'm using stamps. I love to stamp on my jelly plate, and it's not such a, I would not say mess, but it doesn't need that much room than a stencil. And I also love that almost every print looks different, and often the results are very surprising. The paper I'm using for my prints is normal copy paper, and I'm using different weights. I have around 120 GSM and something that is about 200 GSM, and I love the thinner prints for collages and when I do some little mini journals that have to be folded, and the thicker prints I like to use as card backgrounds or artist trading card backgrounds. I put down all the colors on my plate, but I try to not over mix them because the reds and greens will create a muddy color, and of course I don't want a muddy print, so I am very careful not to overdo that brayering on the plate. I'm cleaning my brayer always on a piece of paper. It's laying on my right side, and that often gives me really nice backgrounds as well. Here I'm using a stamp from my Lace Doily stamp set, and I'm stamping it from one area to a different. So if I in the turquoise area, then I go into the red one, and from the red area I go back into the turquoise area, and from time to time I'm stamping the image onto my cleaning paper to clean the stamp. I also use the cleaning papers for printing, so I always have double-sided prints. I usually only make one print when I'm working with such a big plate because the paint dries pretty quickly and you have to work a little bit faster than with a smaller plate, especially during winter time when the air is pretty dry. I really like the color combination. I think it's very pretty and not as usual for Christmas, and that's what I really like. I have some paint left on my plate, and that's what I also really love because you get some nice and grungy textures on the next print. As always, I'm working in real time here, and if you want to, you can print together with me. And if it's a little bit too slow for you, you can use that gear in the YouTube settings and change the speed of the video. To avoid that the paint is drying on my stamps, I always lay them upside down onto a wet wipe until I am completely done with printing, and then I can go to the sink and wash them. In case you have some acrylic paint that dried on your stamp, you can use alcohol to clean them. As always, I will make a flip through all the prints I am doing today at the end of the video. And I also will make some photos that you can see on my blog post, and I will link this up in the video description. And also, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. This really helps my channel because more interaction will help that YouTube shows the video to more people. This time I also use a second stamp. It's just one from the pencil marks with little dots. If you need some inspiration what you can do with your jelly prints, I will link up some videos in the end cards, and you can also check out my jelly printing playlist. There I have also a lot of videos where I'm using jelly prints for the projects. This is more of a messy background where the paint was too dry to transfer to the paper, but I really like the white spots because they increase the contrast and they will give me really interesting backgrounds. For this print I will pick a different stamp and I will use a fir branch to create the background. And here I'm also using that dot stamp to create a little bit more texture. And here you can see how pretty those cleaning sides of the papers can be. I really love how this one turned out with the stamped doilies on top. This time I want to try something different. I will start with the warm colors and then do some of the stamping, and then I'm adding the cooler colors, the phthalo green and the turquoise green. I'm stamping the poinsettia also to the areas where I have no paint, so hopefully they will show up on the blue-green areas afterwards. I really like that. I think it looks super pretty. Now I want to try out a different color scheme so that we don't get similar prints all the time. And this time I want to try this one with the blues and the warm colors. And here I also use the gold ochre, the cadmium orange from Schmincke, the burnt sienna again, the Prussian blue and the brilliant violet. I can tell you that this color combo is not that pretty. I am trying different ways to get a good print, but I will make only 3 of them and then I will switch to another color scheme. Sometimes the colors don't work good together on the jelly plate, and I think these are too complementary to work great together, and that's the reason why I don't like the prints. I often get asked how I get these bright and saturated prints, and I think the reason is that I mainly use, well, this is a nice background, isn't it? I mainly use transparent acrylics for printing, and I have the feeling that acrylics with white pigment and that are more on the opaque side dull down the paints more than transparent colors. So for jelly printing I try to use transparent colors except from light ones. If I use a white or a light like yellow or a light pink, then I am picking more opaque colors, because if I have something light on my plate, I want it to be white, and then it's good to have an opaque color. And here you can see why I don't like that color combo, because the blues and the orange mix almost a black, and I think that's not so nice for Christmas. As this was so dark, I wanted to try it out to mix a little bit of white onto my plate so everything gets a little bit lighter. As I had so much paint on my plate, I decided to make 2 prints. I will soon show you how the first print turned out. And here I tried to make a ghost print, but there was not much paint left on the plate. I will just use this print and print it again in a next round. And here is the first print. I think this one turned out okay, and it is really nice with the fir branches. I will make one more print with this color scheme, and then I will switch to a different one because that's just not what I like and what I wanted to have. Now that I'm watching this video, I would think printing this one I have right now on the plate would be maybe really pretty, but of course I didn't do it. And I'm mixing in my Prussian blue and brilliant violet. I think I only go with brilliant violet. I don't think that there is any room for more paint. I really like this cleaning background that you just saw. I think the colors are pretty together, but they have to be not as much as I have always on my plate. And this is also not my favorite. The browns with the violet is just not my color scheme, I would say. So in my next print I will change colors and I will use a much brighter theme. You can see it here. It's more on the pinkish side and it will mix a little bit of violet. I'm using, I believe it's the Prussian blue, the yellow green, the dark Naples yellow, and I have not in mind which pinks I'm using, but I will write them in the video description. And for this print I'm using that lace doily stamp again. I think this color scheme is pretty nice for jelly printing as it almost has no colors that won't mix together. So with almost every combination you will get a nice second color, and so it's easier to get a nice and bright print. And I truly love the color combo. I think it looks super pretty, and combined maybe with some white embossing on top, it can make really nice card backgrounds. And this is the cleaning background. I also really like it. I'm using the fir branch on this print again. I really love the texture it creates. It's, I think, perfect for Christmas. Here I stopped recording because the video was already half an hour long, and then I almost forgot to turn on my camera again. And here you can see that I have already spread out the paint over the plate. Of course, I will list all the stamp sets I've used in this video in the video description. I will make a different color scheme now, and I will use the Phthalo green, the sap green, the burnt sienna, and a pink. I first thought about using the Schmincke Magenta, but I also have a nice pinkish color from Amsterdam. I don't know, permanent red violet maybe? I can't remember, and I will write the name in the description. Maybe you could read it on the camera if you have a big screen. And I also pulled out the silver for the gray, but I can tell you that I don't use the silver on these prints. I think I just forgot about it while I was printing. When I lay down the paint, I always lay down the paints in different areas. That means when I have an area where I have some dried pinks, then I would lay a different color on top the next time, so I get more of these grungy effects. Whenever I have too much paint on the plate, I'm cleaning the brayer, and I have no idea why the focus of the camera is jumping around because I didn't change anything of the settings. And I really love this. I think this is such a pretty color combo. And here I try to explain that there is something of that turquoise green on the print, but I have no idea why it's there. So I don't know why. I think it matches perfectly. And oh, that's also pretty. And I believe I will use that lighter green turquoise in the next print as well, because I think it matches so good. Yes, and here I'm using that lighter turquoise, green turquoise, because I thought this combo is so pretty. And I always try to start with one color family first, so the warm colors, and then I go in with the cool colors, because then I avoid creating a muddy color. I think this cleaning background is also super pretty. A lot of them can be used for projects as well. And I really like that I always have double-sided paper, so in case my print doesn't turn out in a way I wanted it, then I can just use the other side. I really like how this turned out, and I love the violets that I got because the pink was mixing with that turquoisey green. For this print, I decided to pick the Quinachridone Magenta from Schmincke. It's a really awesome color. It's, I believe, my favorite color ever. But it's from their artist grade line and it's super expensive. So usually it's not a paint you would use on a jelly print, but I really love it. This background is also super pretty, I think. And I believe you know what I mean with that quinacridone magenta. It's just an awesome color and it's 100% transparent, and I think that makes it so pretty. Here I picked a stamp from the Carved Collection number 3. It's one of my favorite stamps and it was inspired by a Christmas ornament, so I think it's a must for a Christmas background. I really love how this print is turning out. I think it's perfect for a card background or for Christmas tags. I will make almost the same print again. I will just use a different weight of paper so I have more options. As I said, with the thinner papers, I like to do some folding projects, and I did some mini journals with those papers recently, and also some tiny ATC folders where you can put in some artist trading cards, and therefore these papers are excellent. And I really like this print even more as it has these white spots in between now, which I think feels like some lighting that is coming through. I thought that the last one was the last print, but it wasn't, so I have one more print for you. I will now give you a flip through all the prints I've done today, and I will also turn them around so you can see the back sides of those prints. And I'm starting with one of the ugliest, I would say. I really like the background of this. And this one is really nice. I feel it's pretty color combo. This is also not my favorite. It's much too brown. This is one of my favorite prints, I believe, and this just has a simple background from another session. I love this one. This was a pretty long video today, almost an hour. I hope you enjoyed it, and I wish you a wonderful weekend. Bye!